You know, the draft was going so well up until the Patriots decided to trade out of pick 21. So many bad teams were actually having good drafts. I mean, take the Giants, for example. They were able to snag Kayvon Thibodeau at number 5 and Evan Neal at number 7. Two very, very good players in this draft. Or take the Jets. They were able to get 3 picks in the first round. They were able to get Sauce Gardner. They got Garrett Wilson. And they traded up to go get Jermaine Johnson. But the Patriots, you know, honestly, maybe I just should expect this every year. I should expect Bill Belichick to pull this kind of BS every year where he trades out of the first round or he trades down. And, you know, with the exception of last year with Mac Jones at 15. But this year, oh boy, this year is a new low. And this is basically next level stupid from Bill Belichick. And I don't know how to react to this calmly. Because when New England needed a linebacker and a cornerback most pressingly, they chose to go get a projected third-round guard in the first round. So, without further ado, let's just try to somehow analyze this pick and see where New England goes going into day 2. Now, let me make this very clear. I am not going to be hating on Cole Strange at all in this video. He's a phenomenal player coming out of Chattanooga, but really, he does not deserve any blame here. And so I hope that he doesn't get any hate for this pick because it really wasn't his choice to be drafted by the Patriots. Hell, I bet he was setting up his draft party on day 2, and now because Bill selected him on day 1, he's got to scrap the whole thing. So, yeah, just remember that Cole Strange is not the guy that you're blaming here. The guy you're blaming, or the guys that you're blaming here, are Bill Belichick and the Patriots front office. Because this is an all-time reach they would expect from maybe the Raiders to make. I mean, think about last year with Alex Leatherwood. This is that kind of a pick, and it's really frustrating when, you know, you had 2 great guys on the board, and New England goes and gets an unnecessary position, let alone in the first round. Now, looking at Cole Strange, he's 6'5", 307 pounds. He's played in a couple of different spots on the offensive line, from left tackle to guard to center, where he was listed coming to the draft. And you know Bill loves his versatility on the offensive line. I mean, just take a look at Michael Onwenu. He might not be great at guard, but can certainly play there. He's quick off the snap. He's very flexible. He has decent footwork. Over at Chattanooga, he was most confident in the run game, which is important when you consider how valuable Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are and how they're utilized, how they take the pressure off Mac Jones. And so, overall, in that sense, he's a great pick. And then you also got to consider his character. He's smart. He earned a 3.71 GPA in college and was named Academic All-Conference in all 6 years in college, not to mention that he had a great day at the Senior Bowl. And so the pick is not bad. In fact, it's a good pick overall, and it's a guy that New England needed, especially after Shaq Mason left. And this would be a great pick if it was in the 3rd round or the 2nd round. Now, obviously, with that being said, with him being a projected 2nd to 3rd rounder comes with some issues. Him weighing 307 pounds means that he does lack some ideal mass. He's too reliant on his fundamentals, and he can get bullied if his technique isn't right. He's played 6 years in college, and so coming into the league, he'll be 24. And so that leads me into talking about Shaq Mason, the 28 or 29-year-old guard that the Patriots trade for a 5th rounder. And when you now look at this trade, now with the draft pick, it makes very little sense why Shaq Mason wasn't just signed to a nice extension. The Patriots would have needed to let some guys go, I know, but why take a guy like Strange when, with all due respect, is older than most guys in the draft, and by the end of his contract, his rookie contract, he's going to be close to 30 years old. It just functionally does not make enough sense. But I think what makes less sense when looking at this pick is who we needed. First, let's talk about Bill trading back. First, I was very skeptical of the Patriots trading back in this draft, especially considering the high chance that New England would miss on Devin, Lloyd, and Trent McDuffie, 2 highly rated players in this draft at 21. But then when you look at who was available at that time when New England picked Cole Strange at 29, I mean, they had Nakobe Dean and Andrew Booth still on the board. Again, another linebacker and cornerback duo who would have been perfect. I mean, either one of those picks would have been very, very good. And so it literally seems like the stars were going to align for this to be a great draft pick. And then Bill screws it up like this. And I think what makes it the worst is Bill's reasoning for picking Strange. And that was because he was a guy that fit into New England's system. Again, I could totally agree with that. And then the second part was that Bill said that Cole Strange wouldn't last much longer in the draft. Really, Bill? A projected 3rd round pick wasn't going to last longer in the draft? Now, maybe Belichick really liked Cole Strange, and he really felt that he was going to be taken somewhere in the early second round. But again, just you got to think about where he was rated. He was in third round pick. And so the most that I could see him dropping to is probably maybe a late second, a mid second. I can't see him falling to the early second round. Now, it's not like Bill Belichick has ever cared about what analysts say during the draft, during their mock drafts. But even then, when New England needed guys like Nakobe Dean or Andrew Booth, or even if they don't trade back and they just take McDuffie, or most importantly Devin Lloyd, they go take a position that they could have addressed much later in the draft. And so now going into day 2, here's what I'll have to say. New England will have to address cornerback and linebacker and fast, because those positions drain quickly. And if we're talking about a wish list that I'm hoping for maybe Christian Harris or Leo Chanel, or if Nakobe Dean is still there, then Nakobe Dean. Those are my hopes at linebacker. And then somehow, some way, if Andrew Booth and Kyler Gordon are still there in the second round, then those are my picks. And all of these guys will go in the second round. That's just no doubt. And so if I'm Bill Belichick, then I'm looking to trade for a second round pick and address both of those needs. And I also think that Bill Belichick could have addressed offensive line much later in the draft. I mean, considering how much success he's had drafting offensive linemen, take Shaq Mason, who was drafted in the 5th back in 2015, and then Michael Onwenu, who was, I believe, drafted in the 6th round or the 7th round. And so I think that New England could have addressed offensive line at that point. But again, what's done is done. And now, along with an extra receiver like John Mechie or Khalil Shakir from Boise State, New England also has to address more defense. And that's just really why the Strange pick is not only unnecessary in the first round, but it's also an inconvenience. Maybe Bill has a master plan. But for what we see now with his questionable decisions, I cannot say I'm confident. And maybe this is like the Logan Mankins pick, where New England goes and reaches for a guard in the first round, and maybe this is a pick where maybe Cole Strange ends up becoming a really good player. But regardless, when you consider the needs, the positional needs that New England has, it just does not make sense to go select Strange. Regardless, I'm very happy for Cole Strange. I hope that he goes on to have a great career, hopefully in New England. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I'll be back for day 2 talking about more picks. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.